want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
I want to talk about how the Georgia prosecutor's grand jury seems to be complete. Looks like they've wrapped up their work in Georgia.
There's a lot that this grand jury has been poring over. You know, everyone's very eager to see what's in their final report and also to see if they recommended any indictments. If so, the district attorney can then pursue those charges.
Could charging recommendations be included?
I want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we had, because I won the election. I don't think that's going to fly. That's a felony at both the federal level and the state level.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be with you both. I think it's likely that there are charges and recommendations in the report. Remember that the report's really an instrument, not just to the grand jury, but that the DA and the prosecutors have had their hands all over it. The grand jury is not sitting in there with notepads, listed out everything they want to have, and somebody's typing this up at night. This is something that's done in conjunction with the prosecutor's office, getting down basically the wishes of the grand jury and any specific questions or comments they may have about the evidence that was presented to them. So the prosecutor knows what's in the report, no question about it.
We're just a couple days away from Trump's first indictment. That son of a bitch is guilty.
One of the reasons that we don't see investigative materials and investigative reports in any pending criminal case is because the statute says, the law says, that that's a reason not to disclose information until the case is concluded. So this would really change precedent and sort of, I guess, be an argument that you would see media organizations and defense counsel making from now on, saying, look, if it's the normal thing now to release investigative materials before we even get to a grand jury, then we're going to ask for that in every case. So there's a strong argument to be made that this ought to remain in the breast of the prosecutor, that she could consider it, and that she could then make her decision about moving forward the regular grand jury.
We know that Rudy Giuliani was one of the people who showed up before the grand jury. We know that Boris Epshteyn, who is another attorney to former President Donald Trump, was there. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham fought this tooth and nail. He appeared before the grand jury. Brad Raffensperger was there. Brian Kemp was there. Mark Meadows was ordered to appear after he had been fighting a subpoena for his appearance as well. So look, they got information from a number of these people, and one of the things we heard from witnesses is that the grand jury was very involved in sort of asking these witnesses follow-up questions. They had very clearly been read in on the materials. So, as Mike was saying, they work with the district attorney to pull together this final report, but witnesses have described a very active grand jury throughout this process.
Question will be, how and when anyone learns if this years-long investigation leads to an indictment. Just on that question of timing, when do you think we would know?
Well, I think the district attorney's probably been working on the indictments as we speak, and any other investigative finding that she's made. So she could really get an indictment within a couple of days, I think.
I noticed Fox News didn't report this. Why would they? It makes their guy look bad and reminds everybody, oh yeah, he did that. Somehow, he's gonna weasel out of the top secret stuff. Those papers, dude, who knows? That's what they'll say, who knows? Who knows what happened on? Maybe he'll completely weasel out of the January 6th stuff. But Fulton County, Georgia, has him on tape telling the Secretary of State of Georgia to change the fucking election.
Really was the investigation that the people around Donald Trump were most nervous about, most concerned about, and a lot of legal analysts saying that they should be most concerned about in terms of Donald Trump's exposure, if he, any kind of legal exposure that he does have. I'm curious as to how people are feeling now as this wraps up and things are going to move into this next phase.
Well, look, I think that has shifted somewhat because a lot of that concern was before we knew the Justice Department had such a robust investigation going on into efforts to to overturn the 2020 election, efforts around January 6th. We now know a lot more about the scope of that DOJ investigation. And also, that was before the Mar-a-Lago investigation became a problem that Donald Trump was at the center of, sort of hoarding these sensitive documents at Mar-a-Lago. I do think one thing is very clear, though. Donald Trump has always been at the center of the district attorney's case in Georgia. The federal case may reach to Donald Trump and Merrick Garland may have a decision to make, but I think it was always very clear, at least in Georgia, this was an investigation into the former president.
He did that. He's guilty. Don't know what to tell you, buddy. I've been hearing Republicans say for the longest time, ha 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 ha, you keep saying he's gonna get indicted, you keep saying he's gonna get charged, but you never see charges because there's nothing here, you're never gonna see charges. Get ready, y'all. He's fixing to get charged for this. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Way to go, Fulton County. Get it done.